and we're so excited to be here in our very first 50 Shades Greener live show. Every month, I'm going to interview someone that has achieved greatness within sustainability. And of course, our first guest couldn't be any other than Donal Minihane. Hi, Donal.
Good morning, Raquel. Good morning, everyone.
Donal is the Managing Director of Hotel Doolin, Ireland's first carbon neutral hotel, but he's also a published author, a father of four, and one of my longest standing friends for the last 22 years. I don't really know how that happened. Myself and Donal worked together when we were in our early 20s in Fitzpatrick's Hotel in Bunratty. And I'm really happy that we have stayed friends for all this time. So you're very welcome, Donal.
Thank you. And we'll see how today goes now. See if the friendship is still standing after this.
This could be the end of it. Just before we start, I want to give you a bit of housekeeping. So we're streaming live in YouTube and in LinkedIn and also to our exclusive audience in Zoom. We would love to hear where you're coming from, where you're viewing us from, and your name. So you can put your name and where you're from into the chat box here on a StreamYard. And then we're going to talk to Donal for about half an hour now, and then we're going to switch to our exclusive audience in Zoom to do a Q&A. So start thinking of any questions you want to ask him or me, for that matter. So just before we start, let's do a quick round of 5 questions. Answer the very first thing that comes into your head, Donal. Favorite animal?
Wolf.
Oh, Jesus. Favorite
I've done this with the kids, so yeah.
Favorite book?
Favorite book, That They May Face the Rising Sun by John McGahern.
Okay, very good. Beach holiday or city break?
Oh, beach holiday, definitely. Yeah.
Beach holiday, yeah, me too. Tea or coffee?
Coffee and tea, both.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's not an answer. But anyway, right or left?
Guys,
Uh,
they couldn't
right.
hear anything until now, so you'll need to start again.
Oh.
So maybe just say sorry.
I'm so sorry. We have just been told we've had technical difficulties. This is what happens when you're doing something live. And apparently you haven't heard a word that we've said up until now. So I'm sorry, Donal. We're going to start again. So welcome, everyone. Apologies for the small tech issue there. We are kickstarting today the 50 Shades Greener live show, where every month I'm going to interview someone that has achieved greatness within sustainability. And I couldn't start the series with anybody else but the amazing Donal Minihane. Hello, Donal, again.
Good morning, Raquel. Good morning, everybody.
Donal is the Managing Director of Hotel Doolin, which is Ireland's first carbon neutral hotel. He's also a published author, a father of 4, and one of my longest standing friends. Donal and I met in our 20s, working in Fitzpatrick's Hotel in Bunratty, and somehow we've managed to remain friends for all these 20-something years.
Even working together.
Working together, which, it was a challenge.
2 dodgy days, all right?
Few dodgy days, we got over them. So hopefully we're going to continue our friendship after we grill him today, because we want to find out a lot about Donal's own journey here in Hotel Doolin, from being a regular hotel to being Ireland's first carbon neutral hotel. So just a little bit of housekeeping for the audience. We're streaming live on YouTube and LinkedIn, and we also have exclusive audience that registered in Zoom. How the show is going to work is that we're going to grill Donal for a good half an hour now, and then we're going to pop over to our soon register attendees, and there you'll be able to ask Donal and myself anything that you like. So we love to hear from you already. Use the chat box to tell us your name and where you're viewing us from, so that we can say hello as we go along. So let's just kick a start again with a quick round of 5 questions, where Donal is going to answer the first thing that comes into his head. Favorite animal?
Wolf or dolphin.
Bit dodgy.
Yeah.
Favorite book?
That They May Face the Rising Sun by John McGahern.
Very good. Beach holiday or city break?
Beach.
Yes, me too. Tea or coffee?
Both. Tea. I like tea and coffee.
Or pina colada in the beach, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, sorry.
Sorry, I thought I turned it off.
Compressor.
That's the compressor for our new wine bar that we just that we're opening next week.
Very exciting. Tapas bar with wine on tap, open in a Hotel Doolin next week.
Fully organic wine. Yeah, wine list. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'll be down here for a tasting. And the last question, right or left?
Right-handed.
You're right-handed. Okay, very good. Well, now that you know Donal a little bit better with that quick round of questions, we're going to get into Donal's green journey. So, Donal, how did you start your green journey? Or Hotel Doolin's green journey?
Yeah, well, I think they both kind of started together because Hotel Doolin was my first general manager job. So it's the first time I was actually properly in charge of anywhere. So someone actually let me be in charge of something. So previous to that, I worked in hotels in Ireland and abroad, in mostly cities actually, in kind of chain hotels, Fitzpatrick's, Great Southerns, Clarion Hotels, and then this was my first experience, kind of an independent hotel, I suppose, a small boutique hotel. So when I arrived down to Doolin, I was like, great, I can do what I want. So it was the chance to be, you probably know yourself from working in bigger chains, and that you can't often do what you want to do.
Very
a lot of it is preordained by head office or pre-prescribed, and there's a set formula that you stick to all the time. So it's hotels are quite conservative and quite slow to change. So it can be for people working in bigger chains or bigger organizations, it can be quite frustrating to try and make an impact. When I came down here, it was like a blank slate. Doolin was a wonderful place, and the hotel was amazing. So there was a lot to work with, and that's where it all started. The first thing I remember when I came in, one of the first things I actually done as a manager, changed as a manager, was I got rid of the single-use shampoos and conditioners and stuff in the bedrooms, and we put in Voya, which is a fantastic organic seaweed product, which is a lovely company up in Sligo. Mark has founded it. He's a surfer up in Sligo, and he used to have seaweed baths on the beach.
Yes,
and then it kind of naturally progressed into making what would you call them? Shampoos? What's the word for them?
Mini toiletries.
Spa. When they went into spa treatments and spa stuff first, and then they developed stuff, shampoos and conditioners and that kind of stuff. So we still have them today as well. We got rid of the single-use bottles and we put in the refillables, and we still to this day have them. So.
Would you say that was your first green action or your first?
Yeah, that. And then the next thing I think was the Doolin beer. So again, we developed our own beer product called Doolin Red Ale, which is very tough process. Trying to taste all the different beers and come up with the correct formula. But and we still sell Doolin as well 10 years later in the bar here. But at the time the craft beer thing was just starting to take off, and again, instead of importing foreign beers, like when tourists come to Doolin, they want to taste the local beer. There wasn't local beer, which is for a place like Doolin was amazing. So yeah, we developed Doolin. So I think that was the second thing. Then I heard you.
And then it all kicked off. Yeah, I guess, I've always thought that you were a great visionary because, back in 2010, 2011, when you started all this, really climate change wasn't spoke about as often. Sustainability wasn't really in any business owner's mind. So I've always thought that you were very visionary with the starting Doolin's green journey so soon. And that kind of leads
I think like 10 years ago, it's amazing that it's such a short time ago that like it was happening elsewhere in the world, but I think in Ireland it wasn't,
Yeah.
Ireland was very slow to catch on. I think. And hotels, especially big hotels and bigger chains, they're just a disaster in terms of waste and single-use plastics and energy use and food waste. And like there was so much to do, so it was so easy to start doing something, even small things like, so I wouldn't say I was visionary, it was just kind of, I was able to do it, and it was kind of common sense at the time. So
that's a really good point, that there is so many quick wins right now within hospitality that it seems nearly, crazy.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing anything special here.
I think you are.
We're doing a load of small little things, and when you do a lot of small little things consistently over 10 years, it adds up to a big thing,
Yeah.
But for anyone starting off, or most people have started off at this stage, I think, but when you want to continue, don't let it. I would say don't let things overwhelm you. Just start doing small little things, like are just trying to take into account sustainability when you're making any small decision
Yes.
or any big decision, you know.
And that's very important, because sustainability shouldn't be an add-on that we think about after. It's something that we need to put at the forefront of all of our small decisions, like you say, and big decisions.
Yeah, sustainability isn't a new thing either. Sustainability is what people were doing for thousands of years before we went into this neoliberal capitalist, society. Like, it's just, watching what you use today, so there's more of it tomorrow. So that's all it is.
Yeah, and I always remember my grandmother. She used to never understand, why we needed to buy a new coat every winter. And she used to say, like, buy one good piece and it'll last you for 10 years. And without knowing that is sustainability, is about continually reusing the stuff you have and not just taking more resources from the planet to create new stuff all the time. And that's something you all do very well here at the hotel as well. But Donal, what does green leadership mean to you?
Green leadership, I suppose, for me is all about community. Again, when I moved down to Doolin from the city and from bigger chains, it was great to start living in a place where people have lived and done the same thing for thousands of years. And I think Doolin has something that other places have lost, or managed to keep, despite being a really, really popular tourist destination. It's managed to keep community at the heart of it and keep the soul. And I think that's really important. I think as well, I think the future of sustainability and the future of hospitality, and not just hospitality, any business, society will have to be small communities. Small communities working together sustainably, self-sufficient in terms of energy, self-sufficient in terms of food, and I think that's really what it's all about. Come back to the old model.
What we used to do, come back to the old way of doing things.
Like, I think one of the most frustrating things about hospitality and about the restaurant, hotel, bar business at the moment is food supply and food produce, and the way we grow now and manufacture our food and process our food. I think like for a smaller community like Doolin, there's no reason why we shouldn't be self-sufficient by buying local. But take seafood for example now. I don't do you know, like Michael Town, he's the last fisherman fishing out of Doolin in the scanner.
I know, it's really sad.
I think it's really sad, and so we live in a fishing community at the edge of Europe, in front of the most abundant waters in the world, and we can't get food for our menus, fish for our menus, fresh seafood for our menus. Michael fishes crab and lobster. Most of that now is exported. The lobster goes to France. The crab is exported live to China. And we can't have crab claws on our menu because we can't afford it. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's absolutely crazy. And I say this time and time again in our weekly blogs, is that our current food systems are completely broken, and they are a huge contributor to climate change. From, like you say, growing food, which we grow more and more all the time, faster and faster, pesticides, chemicals, to the way we process food and to the way we transport it. Livestock should be, think of barbaric times that shouldn't be allowed anymore. And then even to the point of when it comes to our plate, how we package it in the supermarkets, then gets to our plate, and then we dispose of it, and we're throwing away a third of the food that we produce before it even reaches our mouths. So food is it's a huge issue.
Take this look. Why can't there be there's loads of restaurants and bars and hotels and that in Doolin and in the area, North Clare, and that would sustain a local fishing fleet, a local fleet of boats. But why can't they go out in the morning, catch the fish, whatever fish we need for the day, and bring it back to the pier, and then the chefs from each hotel and restaurant go down to the pier and buy the food? It'd be great,
I think after today, Donal is going to become a fisherman.
I've thought of it, because when Michael finishes, there'll be no one else,
Yeah.
So the boat will be there,
We get a couple of 50 Shades Green our boats, and we take at sea every day. Just in terms of Hotel Doolin's green journey, Donal, was there any turning point? Was there any point throughout the last 10 years that you thought, yes, we are the best at this, or that would any light bulb moments for you throughout the 10 years?
I don't think we're the best. I know we've been very successful in what we've done. That we've got recognition from awards and that, But the awards are one thing, but doing it consistently and actually making an impact. I think getting the carbon neutral certification was a big step for us. The first step, I think, you probably remember back, was the Platinum Award. Do you remember that was?
Yes.
I think were we the first in Ireland to get that, or?
No, we weren't the first. There had been 5 hotels before that had it.
Yeah.
So that was back in 2013.
Yeah. So I think so. Yeah. So we decided the Green Hospitality Award was bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And I remember saying to you, we said we'd go for the Platinum Award, and you were like, why don't we start off with the bronze?
I remember that.
I was like, no, we're getting the Platinum Award. And you were like, oh, no. I said, okay, I'll give you 100,000 euros. I said, if you get the Platinum Award. And
I never got 100 grand.
Yeah, you took the 100 grand and then you started 50 Shades Greener. You fucked off and started 50 Shades Greener.
Beep.
Yeah. That's my recollection of events anyway.
Okay, so. You can believe what you want to do. Yeah, we need platinum.
But I think, no, but the point, I think, like, doing all these things is great, but I think getting the recognition as well is great for the team,
Yes.
to know that they're on the right track, and that there's just getting that recognition is an important thing. So, like, although the awards aren't the thing, it's just it's I suppose knowing that you're on the right track, So.
And now that you mentioned the team, Donald, so how do you kind of cultivate this kind of green leadership within the team, or like culture of sustainability amongst the entire team? Because that's one of the questions that pops up from our students all the time. They find it difficult to bring their teams with them in the journey.
Yep. Well, I think it's very important, and we've been very lucky here in Hotel Doolin. But it's very important to have a green manager or a green leader within your organisation. And as we've been lucky to have 2 great, very capable and motivating managers in Raquel. First was our first green manager here at Hotel Doolin, and achieved an awful lot and set up the structures and foundations of the green program. And then Anya Martin came on board, and you both won actually green manager of the year as well, which is a fantastic achievement. So then Anya came on board, and brought it on further again, and continued on the great work with achieving the carbon neutral award and that. So I think first of all, to find someone in your organisation who will be able to motivate staff, communicate, and I suppose have their own motivation as well. Someone who actually believes in in the sustainable journey, and that, and then for them, then they'll set up their green team, and then from leadership, I suppose, given the tools and the resources to be able to carry out.
And that's very important, because sometimes we forget that implementing a green program takes a bit of time, particularly at the beginning, and it's important the general managers allow people the time during working time, I guess, to set up that green program. Yeah,
and changing the culture and communication, of course, is very important. Just keep the message going until it becomes natural, it becomes second nature, that when you're making a decision that you automatically choose the sustainable choice, which, as I say, is usually the most makes the most sense anyway, both financially and operationally. So take last year, we were changing the uniforms at Hotel Doolin, and as you know, like the garment industry is actually a bigger polluter, and
second biggest pollution after fossil fuels.
Is it? Yeah. So there you are, and terribly unethical, and as well,
it's actually it's human rights issue.
Sweatshops and miles, air miles, and that as well. So we said we're not going to have the uniforms anymore, because people don't like them anyway. People don't like wearing them.
Around naked?
No. Well, there is a uniform, so they're allowed, so that they wear jeans and whatever footwear, boots or whatever they want, So, and then we supply T-shirts, a Doolin T-shirt, So Doolin beer T-shirt, which is our own beer, which is made in the Hinch, which is just a few miles down the road, in an amazing shop called the Celtic T-shirt shop.
They make all my garments.
So they hand print the T-shirts, actually in the shop, on organic cotton. So that's, it's a better, it's a cheaper solution for us. People our team are happier, and we're not fucking anything up, you know.
And you're supporting a local business, which
And
is
exactly.
so just all it stays within the local economy.
Yeah.
And just on that topic,
Mhm.
we have a question that someone asked where they ask what small practical things, not big expense items, can a hospitality business do to be more sustainable? So any advice for non-hotel venues? So just small practical things maybe.
You want me to take this one or do you want to take?
Yeah, it's a non-hotel, is it?
It's a non-hotel, yeah. So the very same things that we apply in hospitality can actually be applied to any type of business. So 3 things that every single building, I guess, can manage better. I hope your business is within a building. That's the energy and water that you use and the waste that you produce. So for me, first protocol is always measuring your current environmental impact. How much energy are you using? How much waste are you producing? How much water are you using? And thankfully, the answers are right at our fingertips in our utility bills. We can do this. I've even done this at home. We at 50 Shades Greener, we all calculate our resource use at home. And anyone that resides in any building can do the same. So once you've measured your waste, energy, water, then you need to kind of observe where and why you're using energy and water and what waste you're producing. So, even spending a week observing your bins, identifying your top most disposed of items will allow you then to make decisions and say, okay, well, every week I'm putting, say, 5 cartons of milk in the bin, right? Sorry, the compressor again. And so, you could reduce that waste if you were to buy a 5-liter drum of milk rather than individual cartons of milk. So it's just about finding the quick wins, finding out where you use the most energy, trying to use that equipment less. The kettle is a huge absorber of energy in a home. I am sick and tired of telling my husband to not fill the kettles to the top. But yeah, it's about identifying, first of all, what your starting point is, what your energy, water and waste is, and then trying to find how to reduce those. So I hope that kind of answers the question, more or less. Yes. Perfect. So, Donal, what would you see the benefits are of running a green hotel?
As I said earlier, I think usually you'll find when you start to bring sustainability into your decisions that the sustainable option usually is the most cost efficient.
And everybody thinks the opposite.
Yeah, it's
bizarre.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, just take for example, when we were, I don't know, were you here when we changed the heating system? Were you?
I had just left.
From oil to an ambient heating system,
Yeah.
like, so all the expense used in heating buildings, and that is generally when you're heating up, you're burning the oil to heat up, and so if you have it on at like 4 or 5 times during the day, the burner is going to heat the oil 5 times a day. Whereas if you have an ambient system, it's constantly maintained, so it's much more efficient. So just stuff like that. What was the question again?
The benefits of running a green hotel.
I think as well, definitely, from people want to more and more. Your customers want to come to a hotel, a bar, a restaurant, a venue that shares the same values as them. But not only that, your internal customer, your team, people want to work in an organization that gives a shit.
Yes.
They want to know that, that they share the same values. So one of our biggest businesses is weddings.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very important to people now that they have a sustainable wedding. Because it's such a big day of their lives, and a wedding can have such a big impact on the environment as well.
It does.
So I think it's a big thing for them that they know that they have that their wedding is a neutral event. When they have their wedding at Hotel Doolin, and we plant 10 native trees as well for every wedding that we have in the hotel, which I think a lot of people like. And we started planting them on site now actually as well. We used to plant them with home tree up and over in the Hinch, which is great. We have room up the back now in our field. So last 2 or 3 weeks ago, we planted 700 and something trees. So we all went up the back there, the staff and the lads, Matt and Mitch from Home Tree, and we planted oak and alder and birch and willow.
So you now have your own carbon offsetting project in the grounds of the hotel.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, we plan to plant thousands more this year as well.
A lot of planting.
Yeah, and it's good fun too, and you just think about the entrance to Doolin in 10, 15, 20 years time is going to be a forest, instead of
trees.
just scrub as it is now. So you come around that corner and you'll see the that beautiful native
A wedding forest.
native forest. Yeah.
You'll be doing weddings in the forest, and
Yes, we will. Yeah,
There we
we
go.
have ceremonies in the forest. Yeah.
I think I actually had the first eco wedding here in Hotel Doolin.
Yeah,
Back
you're
in 2015, I think we started it.
Yeah, and we had I think you had the replantable centerpieces, which are a great idea if anyone's getting married. And a lot of people are going for them now. You can actually take them away afterwards and plant them in your own garden. Plant them in the hotel.
I got married in the winter, so we got beautiful terracotta pots, which are very Spanish looking, of course, and we planted rosemary and jasmine and all really nice smelly herbs, and then everybody was able to take them away after the wedding for their own homes. So that's delighted to see that trend has continued.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
Very good. And what would your main piece of advice be for any general manager, any manager, or any employee in Ireland that might be watching today or abroad?
I would say yes. I think like most people have started in the green journey now. Would you
No,
say?
they haven't done it. I see
Right,
a few that are trying, that they want to, but they're just not able to keep the start.
Yeah, well, I would say start today. Or there'll be no tomorrow. That's a good one, isn't it?
That's a good one. Yeah, start today or there will be none tomorrow.
I would say start today, and definitely. And it just makes sense, to everybody in the organisation. And then start small, doing small things. As I said, we don't do anything really special here.
Yes, you do.
Again, as I said, a series of small decisions or small changes that add up to big change. Like I went to see the Dalai Lama a few years ago in City West, and somebody got up in the audience and asked a question, and they were full of existential anxiety, like, what are we going to do? The world is ending, and climate change and that land. What should we do? And the Dalai Lama said something like, when I leave a room, I just turn off the light. So just do what you can do. So yes, start with small things. Don't let it overwhelm you.
Yeah, and I think I was watching live yesterday the latest IPCC report. Obviously, it's all the UN scientists that report on climate change, and it can be very, not even depressing, I would say very worrying, because we're painting a future now that is coming on top of us a lot sooner than we thought it would be. That is not just going to affect the future generations, but our generation is going to get us when we're old and we can't run fast enough. And so for me, and even for the scientists of the UN, the biggest takeaway I took from that IPCC report was that every decision, every choice matters from today. Not from 10 years time, not let's reduce plastic by 2030, it's today. And something I always speak about is personal accountability for climate change. Every single person can do something, every organization, every government. And if we all start doing or a small bit, which is what the Dalai Lama said, turn off the light, that's his small action for climate action, I guess. And if 7 billion people in the world turned off the lights a little bit longer, then we would use less fossil fuels. So, we need to think small, but then we need to think that we're going to impact globally.
Yeah, I also think as well, I think part of the problem is, the root of the problem for a lot of people is that they don't feel connected to the world, I think when we talk about, and even in the conversation that we have been having, we talk about the environment or the natural world, which we are part. We are the natural world. We are the environment. So when we realize that, I think that we're not harming the environment. We're harming themselves. So abusing the environment is self-abuse, and being sustainable is just self-care. So it's not the world that's going to end, because that's going to carry on afterwards.
Yes, in a different way. But it is going to carry
fine
on
without us.
Oh, they'll be absolutely fine without us. Okay, brilliant. So it is time now to end the live show. The live is streaming, say, in YouTube and LinkedIn, but we are going to hop over to our Zoom audience. We're just going to take 10-15 seconds just to readjust and switch over. If you hadn't registered for Zoom yet, you can find the link on the chat and register if you want to ask Donal or myself any other questions. We're going to be there for another 20 minutes or so. Donal is in a rush. He needs to go surfing. So we've got it off around 10 to 12. So let's switch over to the Zoom as soon as we can.